My name is Gareth Joseph, and I represent an art called Yun Jung Do. As you can see, I've got a uniform on, commonly denotes a discipline, more often mistaken for a martial art, but the word martial means to fight. So our difference, that we say, the difference between us and other art forms, is that we are an art of human development. By opening it up to being an art of human development, we encourage effort, we encourage the development of the individual's physical abilities, of course. Our syllabus is physical, but to be able to excel physically, one must also be able to get in touch with their inner self, their philosophical attributes, and their mental capabilities. The art form is open to all ages. Our youngest practitioner is probably 6 years old, and our oldest is 75. The desire that each one of them possesses to practice the art is what we're interested in. The physical capabilities of the 75-year-old is very different to that of the 26-year-old, yet their desire and their determination is what we gauge their progress by. Our art form encourages people first and foremost to develop the attributes of their heart. The heart is the first organ in the body that begins to beat even before birth. When the fetus is a mere 7 weeks old, the heart begins to beat, and it is the last thing that beats when the lights are out at the end of one's life. So we say the purity of the heart is important, the strengthening of the heart is important, and with those two attributes put together, the rest of the human body can come to work. Having said that, the flow of blood then becomes an important issue. If you have a piece of meat that you bought from the supermarket and you leave it on the kitchen sink, over a period of time, the piece of meat rots. And that is exactly how human tissue is also developed. If we do not have a flow of blood going through our system, regenerating our tissue, that is exactly what happens in human tissue as well. Therefore, you need a continual process of blood flowing through your tissues to be able to keep your tissue and your muscle structure supple and rejuvenated at all times. To do that, one needs to have a healthy heart. So therefore, stamina and a cardiovascular workout is paramount and important to every human being or animal that has blood flowing through their veins. Once that has been done, we then encourage people to condition their tissue and keep it firm and supple and flexible at all times. We are creatures of habit, and over time, complacency sets in. We become used to a certain gait, a certain way of walking, a certain way of speaking, and we forget that there are other muscle tones and tissues in our body that also need attention. We have a process of learning which involves a conditioning of the tissue through a very scientifically researched method of stretching. The stretching not only brings in flexibility, but also encourages the practitioner to then strengthen the muscles and the tissues that have been made flexible. Tissue is very much like a piece of elastic. If you keep stretching a piece of elastic, over time the elasticity becomes weak. So therefore, that is what flexibility is like. You can stretch, you can become supple and flexible, but in that flexibility, the downfall is that you are losing strength. It is therefore vital that when you stretch, that you also strengthen the muscle tone and the tissues that you have just stretched, or you've begun the process of stretching. Stretching has no age limit. There is no age limit for flexibility. The human body is 70% water. Water can be channeled in any direction that you want it to be channeled into. If you take water and put it into a tumbler, water then assumes the shape of a tumbler. If you channel water down a drain pipe, it channels and takes on the shape of a drain pipe. If you put it into a swimming pool, and so on, into a fish tank, down the course of a river, water can channel itself in any direction that you wish it to be channeled in. If you have that mindset in place, then you will understand that the only limitation for flexibility is the human mind. It is therefore important that one realizes that the limiting factor for all human beings is their will. Our art form encourages effort at all times, and we encourage people to test their abilities and pit themselves against themselves as opposed to each other. We're not a sport whereby there's a winner and loser. The only person whose abilities that you pit yourself against is yourself. So we ask, is there a natural progress of development? Have you progressed from your last class? Have you developed your attributes and your abilities? And at the end of the day, have you become a better citizen and a better human being? That is what Yun Jung Do is all about. Yun means the first way. Jung is a word for righteousness. And we say it's the first true way. That's what we believe, the first true way for human development.